kid in the 80s.
Welcome back, 80s allies. You know how we do things here. It's Larry, it's Jim, it's Larry. Welcome to the 2022 season of 80s allies.
Yes.
As you've already seen, we kicked off really big with Attorney of Dreams. That turned out really well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. If you missed out on it, the live broadcast we did from the new Attorney of Dreams location at the Town Mall of Westminster, you can check us out over on our Facebook page. It is still there. You can watch it in its entirety, all 2 hours of it,
warts and all.
Or of course, if you want to check out little segments of it, just stick around right here on YouTube, where it's going to be some segments from the show that we're going to have up shortly here between this show and the next show we post up in our season here.
Boy, I hope so.
Yes.
Boy, I hope so.
Great things coming up this season.
Oh, great things coming up this season, because we're trying to deal with this weird ebb and flow that we have in between our shows, because, you know, life happens.
Yes.
It would be really nice if this is all we had to do with our time was this show.
Yes.
But we are gainfully employed in other scenarios, situations.
If this were our only job, we'd be in good shape. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
If somebody out there has $100,000 they want to give us so we can make this our full-time job,
bring it our way.
Yeah.
We'll take care of that.
But in the interim, we have explored some different avenues, and we have gone down some different things, because we are going to introduce the podcast. We are going to try to do one of these shows once a week live for the 80s Allies fan base, because the Alliance needs to have their entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, not only that, but it allows us to talk about a full breadth of topics and so forth.
A broader perspective.
Yes, and each week we can take on a subject or whatever. So I think that'll be great. But how have you been? You know, for the sake of the allies here, because you know we've had, I think it was last year the last time we were doing this. So how was your holiday season and all that jazz?
I guess we did do that. We never really got to show you fine people the gifts we got for each other.
Yeah, no, we never really had that opportunity or whatever.
That's still in the can somewhere, and maybe
I still have it. I might, you know what? Actually, maybe what I can do is I can plug in some of that footage right now. All right. So, this is. Hang on a second.
Yes, because I don't wrap anything. It's easier for him to open up the presents.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Now you got a couple of things there.
Ooh, well, folks, you're seeing it here first. The 80s Allies After Dark. We've got ourselves a new logo.
Yeah.
Check that out.
This one's a variant of one of the After Darks that I had created, but this one's got the tiki lettering, which I figured you'd appreciate
Absolutely.
a little bit more.
Take a look at that, guys. I bet you're going to be seeing a lot of that next year.
Yes.
And then this is cool.
Do you like that?
This is very cool. I have been tiki-fied.
You've been tiki.
I have been tiki.
Yeah.
I have my own tiki.
This is called paying attention to what your friends like. And I figured, you know, it envisions the spirit of you as a tiki. Because
This is amazing.
What's a tiki? A tiki is a personification of what you enjoy. And I see you as somebody with a giant smile on their face and drinks in hand. And
I love that I'm a tiki. This is amazing.
Well, to you, like, there's only a good time and a bad time's a waste of time, and I figured that exemplifies it best.
This is fantastic.
One for your shop and one for your home.
Thank you very, very much. I love that. That's really, really cool.
Glad you enjoy it.
My mother's going to flip out when she sees that. All right, so open yours. I think you're going to love this.
So far, I'm ahead as far as gifts go, because, you know, where else are you going to find that? And special thanks to Jim LaPlante for working those up.
Thank you,
Greatly
sir.
appreciated, because I can't draw out of a paper bag. What the hell is this? That's not a very nice thing to say.
You're being so gentle with the paper, no less.
Peter... Boy, this is just taken to it. Oh my goodness gracious!
Would you look at that? Talk about somebody who pays attention. This is a Peter Venkman.
And he's been slimed.
And he's been like, what is this? A stamp?
So let me tell you what this is. So, of all things, now as you know, well, Larry knows. Typically, I put out a train set every year in the shop.
Yes.
And what I use for the buildings and such is from Department 56, their Christmas in the City. Well, over the last few years, Department 56 has been adding stuff to their Christmas in the City line that is from different movies or whatever. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, this sort of thing. And this year, they added some stuff from Ghostbusters. So they have the Firehouse, they have Venkman, I believe it was Egon, and they have a light-up Slimer.
I don't want to break it.
And this, of course...
My goodness, look at that!
And this is the Venkman.
Look at that. That is so cool. Oh, it's got some weight to it, too.
Oh yeah, these are porcelain or whatever they're made out of.
That is a no-joke, true to form Peter Venkman.
Yeah.
That is really cool. That
Been slimed.
It's made out of... It feels like it's made out of metal. That's awesome.
They're obviously a very good piece. Anybody that is familiar with Department 56 knows that the stuff they put out is highly collectible. And so on and so forth.
And I just ruined it because I opened it.
Well, no, not at all, not at all. They tend to hold their value pretty well. But
that's cool.
One of the reasons I bought this for you is that a couple of years ago I got you the Skeletor, the little teeny guy from the building set.
HeroClix?
Not HeroClix. What's the
Mega Constructs.
Mega Constructs. I never could get that name.
And what happened was, in less than a year of you giving that to me,
you got it all.
I got it all.
So I decided to get you this. This gives you another set to collect.
You're a bastard.
So yeah, I got a Peter Venkman I've got to build another collection around, and you got a wonderful couple of pictures.
Yes.
That's going to go great with After Dark.
Yes. Well, not only that, but the beautiful Jim Tiki is I love that thing. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. Well,
it's just fantastic.
It speaks to you, and I saw it. You know, I was always under the impression that Tiki gods, whatever the Tiki was, is supposed to enhance the personality of...
You know what I'm hoping for now? That 80's Allies gets big enough that there can be a Tiki Jim mug and a Tiki Larry mug and a Tiki Adrian mug. We have a Tiki mullet mug. We can even have a mullet mug. That would be just fantastic.
And we're going to talk about the mullets a little later here in this program. But as far as the holiday season goes, we went through the holiday season. I understand you went on a trip.
I did. Towards the end of last year, I had the opportunity to go to one of my favorite conventions in the Mid-Atlantic area, which is RetroCon. It's held every year in Oaks, Pennsylvania, which for those of you who are saying, where the heck is that? It is basically right next to King of Prussia, so it's right outside of Philadelphia. And they've been going for about 10 years now. As a matter of fact, I think this year will be their 10th anniversary, if I'm correct.
Oh, wonderful.
And it's a wonderful fan-run convention that is just absolutely phenomenal. I love it there. I always get good deals there as far as collectibles and toys go. They usually have some really, really great guests, and it's just a wonderful environment with very, very friendly people. But while I was there this year, unfortunately, you were going to go with me, but couldn't for whatever reason.
Something happened. Somebody needed to be on call just in case the Batman symbol went off.
Yeah, something like that. And then Adrian...
That's probably the reason.
Yeah, and sure. And then Adrian couldn't go either, so I ended up going alone.
Well, he had a flat tire. That's why.
Right, yes. And Joker got away and all that jazz. Yeah. But in any event... I ended up going alone, but that didn't stop me from capturing some great footage regarding this event. So, in case you're looking forward to the possibility of checking it out this year, we're going to give you an exclusive look at RetroCon and all the things there are to see. Check it out. Dallas. I am here at RetroCon. I am sorry this is so close up. Unfortunately, both Adrian and Larry could not be here with me on this trip, but I'm still going to take you around and show you everything there is to see. Did this belong to one of you?
Yeah, this is mine.
This was yours from childhood.
Yep, my grandparents won it at a contest, I think at a supermarket.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's the only way you could get them.
Look at that. How much did you ride that thing?
It's you can see it's evident. There's a lot of scuffs, there's a couple of little cracks and stuff. It's not perfect, but
Yeah, but it's still great.
yeah,
That's amazing.
They don't show up too often.
No, I think this is like the second time I've seen one ever. Wow. Very cool. BOD in the house.
What's going down?
Oh, not a whole lot. How you guys doing? You enjoying the show?
Always a good time at Metro.
All right. So I got a question now.
up?
I was watching one of your auctions for the very first time, which of course if our audience is watching right now, they'll see a link down here on the bottom of the screen that'll tell them where to go. But in any case, what is this going for a walk or whatever? The toy doesn't sell. What do you call this stuff?
Walk-a-beat.
Walk-a-beat. What?
Walk-a-beat.
Explain the walk-a-beat.
Walk-a-beat is an item. If you don't like the price, if you don't like the toy, walk-a-beat. Next toy.
It's out of there.
Gone.
It's out of there.
Gone.
Screw that thing.
That's right.
All right.
And then we throw it. Hey, next time.
Then you move on.
Move on.
Move on.
It's easy.
I like
Walk-a-beat.
this.
W-A-B.
Walk-a-beat.
That's right.
There you go. Only with the BOD. Toys for suckers.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
Right out of New Jersey.
Now, I have another question for you.
Go ahead.
Last year, the audience might remember that when you were at Allen's of Attorney of Dreams fame,
Yep.
you may have allegedly, during Christmas, there may have been some chicanery involved, little brouhaha.
Always
Involving you and I don't know, like a sock and not much else. A tuggy, yes. Yeah. You don't intend to repeat that this year, do you? I mean, you're not gonna.
Never know.
Never.
Never know when I'm with Alan, man. Alan's a very, very good friend of ours.
I thought you were gonna say bad influence.
Could be.
Great outfit, Harley.
All right, everyone, I'm leaving RetroCon officially. I did the primary thing I came here to do, which was to get Dan Gilvaison's autograph. I hope everyone enjoyed what I've shown you here. If you are anywhere near the Philadelphia greater metro area, or you want to travel here, by all means, next year, make it out to RetroCon. I've been here for 2 days now. It's been a great time, and I've come previous years. It's always a blast. Make sure everyone here has been incredibly welcoming, and it's been a great time. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you at RetroCon next year. Well, there you go, folks. I had just a fantastic time. Are you okay there?
What's going on?
We're back from RetroCon. You were. Would you have a stroke there or whatever?
I was blowing my nose.
Oh, this is what happens when you take a break. In any event, it was a fantastic time. And by the way, just to let everybody know, RetroCon 2022 has been announced.
Oh, has it?
It has. It will actually be held on September 24th and 25th at the Philly Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. Just another fantastic event, and here's what we know so far about guests. There's going to be a Thundercats reunion.
Oh,
yes! At
well,
this
if you're
event.
into Thundercats, oh no!
Shiki and
Hogan don't appear to enjoy the Thundercats.
Well, actually, I was going to say that Shiki finally decided to drop that $3 Hogan on his head, which I'm not hating on. But in any event,
probably didn't knock any sense in him anyway.
No. So we are happy to report that there are some fantastic guests at this coming RetroCon. Lynn Lipton, who is known as the voice of Chitara. She also did Wily Kit, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
She will be in attendance, as well as Peter Newman, who did Tigra. He also did Quicksilver in Silverhawks, and he also did Monkeyin and Bengali and Wily Cat. And then, I believe, if I remember correctly...
Yeah, because
That's not it. Yes, Larry Kenny, who did Lion-O, will also be there. So,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so that is a whole selection.
No Panthro?
No Panthro, but that is nevertheless an incredible selection of Thundercats folks that you can get autographs for and do it all in one spot if you go to RetroCon. And like I said, I am a huge fan of RetroCon. I've gone over the years many, many times, and it never, ever, ever gets old. It's always a really, really good time, and put on very, very well by the folks who organize it. So,
and if Snarf happens to show up, call the Ghostbusters.
Yes, absolutely. And they're there. Did you notice in the segment there, I don't know if you caught it, I recorded it for you, there was a guy dressed up as Sergeant Slaughter who was playing a video game, and I caught him doing it, and I think it was like the most 80s thing I've ever seen, and I knew you would enjoy that, so I made sure that it ended up in the final footage.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, no, it was
You
fantastic.
know why it's blasphemy, too.
Why? Because
there's
you weren't
only
there.
one Sergeant Slaughter, and that wasn't him.
Should I put up the photo now of you interviewing Slaughter recently?
Should you put up the photo of that now?
Yeah, I could put it right here in post production here. Let the allies see you completely and absolutely, as we say in the wrestling business, marking out.
Well, I wasn't really marking out that day. That I had to reserve.
On the inside, you were.
Oh, on the inside, I was doing backflips, but on
Yes.
the outside, I was very, very reserved. I didn't ask for his autograph.
Well, good. You didn't get that. You didn't go totally fanboy.
I didn't go fanboy on it, but
so for those of you who may not know, in our spare time, Larry and I are involved in the independent pro wrestling scene in our local area, and
we try.
Yeah, recently we were on a show where Larry, you were the ring announcer,
Yes.
and you had the opportunity to actually interview Sergeant Slaughter.
I had the distinguished privilege and was honored and humbled to stand next to somebody that I didn't think I was ever going to meet again in my life. The last time that we were in a room together was 36 years ago with my father, and we rectified that just recently. There's a whole story. There's a whole huge...
And I'm sure we'll get into it in long form somewhere in a podcast at some point.
huge before and after story of meeting Slaughter, but I will say I did get to meet my hero. It was like you doing a scene with Peter Cullen, if you ever had the opportunity.
If I ever had that opportunity, sure.
It was amazing, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Mr. Sergeant Slaughter, for taking the time and the opportunity to get into. He dug everything that I was doing that night.
He did. He was just a really, really, and I've met Sarge on a couple occasions. Just a wonderful man. And if you ever get the opportunity to meet him and support him as he, the legend that he is in retirement, obviously, these guys didn't have, back in the day, they didn't have a huge retirement plan or whatever. So if you see Sarge or any of the old guys that are out at any of these shows or whatever, throw them a couple bucks, get an autograph, get a photograph with them. They're great people and they deserve your support. But, speaking of interviews, while I was at RetroCon, I had occasion to sit around and talk with a gentleman by the name of Tim Clarke for a while. Now, yes. Now, if you have been watching us for a long period of time, the name may be familiar to you. Tim Clarke is the gentleman that is responsible for bringing us Boglins.
Ooh.
Yes, back in the day, and also Sectars.
Oh.
So here's a guy who has a huge part of our childhood, but it doesn't really end there. I didn't know this prior to meeting Tim, but Tim also had worked for the Jim Henson Company for quite a while, and he worked on things like Fraggle Rock. Mm-hmm. He worked on things like Labyrinth. He worked on things like The Dark Crystal. So Tim, really, when you think about it, is a guy who has, as an artist, helped craft the vision, if you will, of the 1980s and what we grew up in and what we lived with.
He was able to take latex and puppetry and blend it together in such a way where you have those pronounced features that you do in a Boglin with the eyes and
yes.
the nose and the mouth and how they all interact with each other.
And not only that, but he's continuing, even though he hasn't been with the Henson Company in many, many years, he continued, I should say, with both Sectars and Boglins at bringing puppetry to the masses, because in both of those lines, you're talking about, the Boglins themselves were puppets, but then the Sectars, some of you may remember, they had the steeds that the action figures rode on were all puppets, to be like bugs, and of course then your fingers were the multiple legs and all that sort of thing. They were really, really, really cool toys. And again, Tim was there, and he was so gracious to grant me an interview. I mean, who the heck am I? I'm a nobody. And the fact that he was willing to allow me to film him and sit down for the interview. It's not long, but it's very, very informative, and it tells you a lot about what you may have already seen, and if you haven't, you're going to hear about it here first. Boglins is back this year in a big way. There are new Boglins. If you happen to get to our buddies at Eternia Dreams, they are now an authorized retailer of these Boglins. They've got them in stock right now, including the ones you're going to see in this particular interview with Tim Clarke. Check it out.
Yeah, King Ward coming to you from RetroCon.
Did you find a few?
I had that one, which I
is
always
RetroCon.
thought of all the Boglins. He was like the ugliest, and I was in Paris, and he was sitting on the corner of the table. This little girl, probably like 5 or 6, she came over and kissed it right on the lips. It's the first time I've ever seen a kid do that. Like usually they're a little freaked out. It was like, it was so amazing.
I look like a wad of bubblegum. He almost does with the color, doesn't he? It's pretty cool.
Either that or solidified Pepto-Bismol. I'm Tim Clarke, and I started out my career working for the Muppets, working on Sesame Street, Muppet Show, Dark Crystal. I sculpted and built all the Mystics, and what else did I do? Crystal Bats, the Pod People Slaves, and a lot of environmental puppets. And then after that, I worked on Fraggle Rock. I built Uncle Traveling Matt and a lot of the radio-controlled puppets. And
Dude, you're like the creator of our childhood here. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I have been very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. And then I launched Maureen Trotto and I launched an action figure line with Coleco called Sectors. And we're hoping to get a new graphic novel out next year based on a new storyline taking Sectors into the future. And we've just relaunched Boglins with Tri-Action Toys.
Is it true? I read somewhere once that Sectors and Boglins were supposed to be together at one point. Is that accurate?
Boglins was supposed to be going into like the third year of Sectors, like an evil nemesis.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, Coleco went bust because of Atom Computers failing miserably. And so the line ended, and then the rights to Boglins came back to us, as well as Sectors. And Mattel picked up Boglins back then in the late 80s. And after 2.5 years of sales in the US, they went to Europe and were produced by Ideal Osiris. And Boglins continued for another 8 years, so there's a huge following in Europe and UK, which I just came back from doing a promotional tour. That was amazing. we have a lot of stuff on our list of things to do, but Bat Boglins is probably going to be the next big one.
So you said this guy's coming out next year.
Yes,
This year,
that's
early next year.
King Topor. Yeah, I'll be out end of this year, into next year.
Well, I love the way you did that.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, so much.
Some people said, oh, Tim, it's too much of a departure of what a Boglin
no
looks
way.
like.
No,
and the
no,
funny
no.
thing is, then everybody, like other groups were saying, no, you need to do something new and different.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
something new and different.
I love the beard, the
Yeah.
stubble on it,
Yeah.
the way it looks. I
Well,
think that's fantastic.
Because I found some kind of ball that had all these hairs on it
Yeah.
that was made out of the same material. So I said to the factory, can you do that, to the Boglin? I think it would be really cool. And they said, yeah, I think we can, as long as you don't put them too close together. So
Yeah, hard to get it out of the mold if they were.
we had to go back and forth, but I think he came out really good.
Yeah, that turned
It's
out
like
really cool.
He's very expressive, and he's got great range and stuff. It's really cool.
And after putting a long tail on the end of that one, geez,
A long tail, seriously?
You like what I did there?
I like what you did there, but did you see? But think about what we've heard here. We've heard and we know the Boglins are back. Now he's working on the possibility of Sectors making a return. I'm pretty excited about it. I always loved Sectors, and I don't know why that particular line doesn't get as much love as it should.
Because it got buried. To be honest with you, certain toy lines, it looked like they were set up for failure. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that, Sectors are on. Okay, now what's Sectors up against? Jason the Real Wheeled Warriors, Transformers, GoBots, He-Man.
There was an incredible amount of competition.
Visionaries.
Absolutely. There was an incredible amount of competition at that time. That said, they still produce some of the most incredible toys. Unfortunately, I don't know their names, folks. I'll have to put the name here at the bottom. But there is one particular set I remember. I think it's the head of the bad guys, and he's on the steed,
right?
And it has these wings that flap. So you've got your hand in there, and you're the bug, and the wings are flapping, and you've got battery operated, and you're flying. Just a toy that, in my mind, was really ahead of its time. It was really, really cool. And as you heard in the interview, one of those things that very few people know is that Boglins originally was supposed to be part of the third wave of Sectors.
Oh, very nice.
So it was supposed to be related to one another, ended up being a separate line. But he was a really, really cool guy to meet, and just a really, really, really nice guy.
Well, going back to the whole Sectors line, the play set?
The Hive.
It was a Hive.
Oh man, the Hive was so cool.
It was cool, and it was
huge,
big.
huge. Yeah, that was
I guess the one thing that I like Sectors as far as the toy line goes. I didn't know anything about the origins. I knew nothing about the mythology or the mythos.
I didn't either. They had some really cool action features.
They did.
They were great toys. I didn't have a lot of them. I think I had one or two.
They came out with a cartoon. I think it was just more along the lines of a special. I don't remember them ever coming out with a series.
If they did, I don't remember. I think there was more with that particular line in comics than there was in cartoon. Again, sadly, I don't know much about Sectaurs, despite the fact that I had a few of them and lived through it, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't really know that much about them or the characters or whatever. But it's something we'll definitely have to take a look at later on down the road here in a little bit more detail, because, again, the toys were just fantastic, and they were really underrated.
I think my cousin was into Sectaurs and Jason the Wheeled Warriors, and there's a whole thing there. But that doesn't mean we let somebody get off the hook because we decided to talk about cartoons. In fact,
boy.
I think what we need to do is start the fire.
Well,
if you will.
Let's talk about this for a minute. I want to discuss this before we cut away to this, and then, of course, we'll have a major discussion when we get back.
Oh, yes.
This was one of those cartoons that I don't know that you remember from childhood.
I do.
You do. Okay.
I do remember this one because it was on syndication.
I was going to say, you don't remember it first run.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so those of you, and this is kind of the interesting thing about this show, it's 80s allies, but kids that grew up in the 80s really encompass two generations.
Yes.
They encompass the latter end of Generation X, which I'm a part of, and you technically qualify as a millennial.
I don't care that people use the term millennial.
So that doesn't bother you?
Why would it?
Well, because some people make a big deal out of it.
People make big deals out of everything.
Well, true.
I mean,
Okay,
people
that's
get into
true.
fist fights over chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
Well, yes, that's very, very true. But so it doesn't bother you that somebody says you're a millennial.
And that's the thing. People were coming up, and this is where you get to learn something. People were coming up with different names and phrases to illustrate different subjects and segments of life.
Yeah.
For you, Generation X stuck because it sounded cool. Millennial stuck for whatever reason here.
Well, and I also think it's important to note that millennials in your age group are very, very different from the millennials at the latter end of the millennial.
Yeah, but again, it was
because how much changed in that period of time.
It was just a way to not advertise.
Differentiate.
Differentiate, but market. It was used as a marketing tool because marketing to boomers, real easy. Marketing to Gen X, real easy. Marketing to millennials, real easy. You just need to go off of what.
Well, because it's an age group. It's an age bracket, sure.
Yeah, and that's all that is marketing.
But we're
still people.
Yeah, but where in our case it makes a difference, so to speak, as we talk about things here on 80s Allies is there's a couple of year period right at the beginning of the 80s.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a separation. Yeah.
Where there's a blank slate for you because you weren't born yet that I remember quite clearly.
Yeah, it was all of like 2 years.
But it's there, and believe it or not, one of the ways it makes a huge difference is in something called Pac Man Fever, which was sort of a thing that gripped the nation at the time the Pac Man video game came out. And everything...
That was 81, right?
Well, the Pac... That was sort of 1980, and then it kind of lasted through. There was a period of...
No, take that back. 82.
Yeah. There's a period of time where Pac-Man was slapped on just about everything on the planet.
Oh.
I mean, you name it, it had Pac-Man associated with. There were Pac-Man lunchboxes, there were Pac-Man stickers, there were Pac-Man clothes, there were Pac-Man sleeping bags. It just goes on and on and on and on.
I have 2 stuffed Pac-Mans at home.
Yes, there were little dolls. There were all kinds of stuff. Well, one of the things that was weirder, I guess you could say, that came out, Hanna-Barbera, and let's take
God bless them.
Yes, let's take nothing away from Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera is probably one of the preeminent animation houses in the United States ever.
Yes.
There's no questioning the things that they've done and what they've achieved. They were assigned with creating a Pac-Man cartoon. Now, what I'm about to show you, this is Hanna-Barbera has, since this was printed, Hanna-Barbera has since released the Pac-Man cartoon on official DVDs. This is a bootleg that I bought off of eBay years ago.
Which means Jim was so desperate for this cartoon.
No, wait a minute. No, hold on.
So desperate for this cartoon that he went out and got a bootleg version.
No, wait. Hold on.
This ridiculous nonsense.
Now, keep in mind that at the time I'm watching this, I am a kindergartner. Okay, I'm little. All right, and at the time, because Pac-Man was so big and I was a kid and everything, this seemed pretty cool. So the question became, did it hold up? And there's only one guy on our team that we can ask if something holds up, and you know who I mean.
Yo, Adrian!
Let's do it.
This is Adrian Starr, and this is Over the Top with Adrian Starr. So the powers that be have decided that they're going to do something magnificent, absolutely great. They're going to get me to review Pac-Man. Yeah, Pac-Man. You see this? Pac-Man. Pac-Man. 1982. 2 glorious seasons. Glorious. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Here we go. Why did the ghosts look like old-timey hobos? Who's the dude with the like, what the? Oh, okay. This. I guess cocaine was very prevalent in the 80s, because this, I don't understand what in the heck. Oh.
I gotta get away from those ghost monsters. Don't let him get away, fellas.
Definitely. Why does he have a hat? If you notice that his feet is not even touching the ground, the animation quality of this is just absolutely, yeah. I guess that's how villains talk. Can y'all explain something to me? Why every time when there's a chase scene in a cartoon in the 80s, the tongue's hanging out? Like what? What? Why is that? Why would you run with your eyes closed? So he's running in rain boots. That's what he has on rain boots. The man is wearing rain boots. That's yeah. I don't know if that was like PG. He says we'll chomp all over him. So just don't let your kids. Oh, what? She's wearing gloves. But her boots are high and pink. Okay, that differentiates, male and female in this, because she got pink in the boots and the gloves and stuff.
Power pellets.
Power pellets was code for cocaine. Don't talk about it.
But I've still got the munchies.
And steroids, because apparently he's bulked up.
Let's get out of here.
Well, now the hobos are running. I mean, ghost.
Where do you think you're going?
Would that qualify as a girl-on-girl experience? Because Mrs. Pac-Man ate the blue ghost. She was like, yeah, too many questions. Oh, they double team him, and they kick. That's nasty. Is that what happened to Darth Vader? He's got the LarMan piece and stuff. I don't know. Oh, so they shut him up in the book.
What's your excuse this time? Stop your shivering and get some new ghost suits.
He said get some new ghost suits, and they went into a closet and put on. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That is not a house. That's cheese.
A yellow house.
It's cheese.
Storm train will take us right to it. We can sneak in from underneath. AG, you got the crowbar? Oh, sure do, Clyde.
They're ghosts, but they gotta climb a ladder.
It's stuck. Give me a hand, guys.
The real Ghostbusters people, are they behind this? Because if they are, I got some questions. Because this is
How does that
okay. That's still cheese. I don't care what nobody says.
All right, you ghastly ghost monsters. You asked for it. It's Pac Man.
So they can float now, but they had to climb a ladder.
Poor Clyde.
Somebody eating the cheese. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. They climbed the ladder, but he can blow himself up. Oh my god. Oh my god. 82. It wasn't cocaine. It was heroin.
Let's go. Wow, these aren't power pellets. I've been tricked.
You haven't seen anything yet, right, Packy?
What is it? A light bulb tree? Oh, they own him like piranhas.
You a little snack pack.
Power pellets. Yummy. Oh, black power. A chomp a day keeps the ghost monsters away. Rise, Clyde. Rise, Clyde.
Wait, you saw he ate rocks.
This'll teach you to mess around with my Packy.
So she was eating the bush. She was definitely trimming that bush. I don't think this is a kid-friendly cartoon. So, just got finished reviewing the Pac Man. And as I said in the beginning, here we go. Explain to me why the hell there was so much lesbian on lesbian action. Like, Mrs. Pac Man was eating a lot of bush. Y'all saw that, right? It wasn't just me. Like, I seen it. So, I guess the real Ghostbusters decided to stop doing cocaine and went straight to heroin because that was the same bad guy and both. Y'all saw it, right? Y'all saw it? Wasn't just me? I know I'm crazy. I'm not that crazy. But I'm just saying, that's bullshit. Can you explain to me, just hypothetically speaking, why ghosts needed to use a ladder? I'll wait. After sitting here and wasting minutes of my life, feeling like decades and years, 1982, I wasn't even born yet. Thank God. Because, bless your heart. Bless your heart. I'm still tripping off the ladder in the House of Chiefs. That's the
You know. Now here's
It didn't hold up.
You know.
It was.
This is how sparse they were for villains, everybody. How sparse they were for villains. Because we have...
Do you have that? Yeah, go grab that. Grab that. Is there a picture? There is not a picture. There's not a picture of Mesmeron on here. So what I'm going to do... And is Primeval on the front of this? No, he's not
on the front.
Okay, what I'm going to do, folks, let me show you what we're talking about here. Check this out. This is two different animation houses. You're talking Hanna-Barbera versus
Filmation.
Filmation. These are several years apart, but take a look at these two characters and tell me, dude,
they're brothers.
I mean, they've got to be related in some way. Certainly, I would suggest both inspired by Darth Vader, perhaps.
Yeah. It's like, it's a crappy 80s cartoon. We need a villain, a primeval.
That has an 8-track for a mouth, as Adrian.
Yeah,
Adrian likes to say.
Mouth and chock full of Coke.
Yeah.
Cola, not the other stuff.
No, that was just the creation of it.
Yeah.
That is what... one of the interesting things, though, about the Pac Man cartoon that I'll bring up, because I did not tell Adrian this, and I don't know if you know this or not. Frank Welker and Peter Cullen had voice roles in this.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, what weren't they in at that time? But they played the dog and cat owned by the Pac Man family, which were named Chomp Chomp and Sourpuss, if I remember right. But,
Okay.
No, seriously.
Roll that...
Would you like me to roll that back for you? Yes.
So, Peter Cullen.
Yes. He played the cat. And Frank
Welker.
Yeah.
Peter Cullen and Frank Welker.
And this is several years before Transformers hits the air.
Okay. Are a dog and a cat.
Yes.
And a Pac Man cartoon.
Yeah, Frank played the dog, Chomp Chomp. And then the cat is Sourpuss. Now, what you did not see in the pilot episode that Adrian reviewed, but that became a running gag throughout the series, was that the dog and cat are in... Well, okay, the cat is in a constant mission to thwart the dog and destroy the dog. And the dog has no idea what's going on, and yet somehow manages to outsmart the cat at every turn. And it's actually a shining light in the show, I'm telling you. There were some really funny gags.
That sounds mighty familiar for what we have coming up later.
Yeah, doesn't it though? But nevertheless, this was the cartoon. There were some shining moments in it, I'm sure, as a series, but
they were few and far between.
By the time you get to season 2, they introduced Super Pac-Man and and Pac Jr., who was PJ, I think is what they called him for short. It was eventually seen in, as Larry said, in syndication. It would be part of the USA Cartoon Express.
Yeah.
Later it was on Boomerang, and I don't think it's on anywhere on TV now.
No,
but
for good reason.
Yeah, this thing lived on probably a lot longer than it should have, and it now lives on in perpetuity in DVDs. But dude, I got to tell you, this, as much as now I look at it, and of course as we were filming it. Of course, I'm watching this while I'm running the camera, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I used to watch this and enjoy this as a kid. But now it's sort of painful to see. Unfortunately, Adrian's not here today, folks, and I don't know where he would rank this versus this, but we definitely are going to have to ask him the next time.
Pretty bad.
Yeah,
pretty bad.
Yeah, it's...
pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's not good.
I actually have some collectibles from this cartoon. I have... I have an actual copy of the storyboard for the opening sequence that actually has William Hanna and Joseph Barbera signed off on it.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I actually have the animation book for this that shows the animators what the characters look like and all that stuff. So perhaps sometime in a later episode we'll take a look at that for God knows why.
And speaking of animation books, next month we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into comic books, and we got something special for Adrian planned coming up next month. But
poor Adrian.
There's that. Now, what would be a real scream, considering that we were talking about these old, retro cartoons and whatnot, is if we get a Donkey Kong Jr. cartoon.
There is one.
I know there is.
There is one. It was part of. It was actually part of what was known as Saturday Supercade. And it competed with the Pac Man cartoon.
Well, yeah, this is Namco.
Yeah, well, but I mean, in terms of the cartoons themselves, it competed. One was on CBS and one was on ABC, I think, if I remember right. And Saturday Supercade had several different video game properties. It had Donkey Kong Jr., Q*bert, Pitfall. I think Space Ace was on there. Kangaroo, Frogger. There were any number of different properties that they utilized, and they would have different shorts for an hour that was Saturday Supercade. It was a cool show. That was by Ruby Spears. That came out of their animation house. But that, unfortunately, has never been released on DVD. So it is one of those things that's very, very hard to come by. The Qbert was eventually released. Somebody bought the Qbert portion of it and put it out right about the same time that the movie Pixels came out. And so you can pick up that part of it. But Qbert was never a show on its own, folks.
No.
So if you pick it up that way, that's not the way that it was shown to audiences. It was part of Saturday Supercade. And I think I have some images, actually, that I can throw in from Saturday Supercade at this point for you guys to take a look at.
Well, yeah, and again, this is the precursor to all video game cartoons ever for now until the end of time.
Well, it is the OG for sure.
Yeah.
And again, one of those it's the only time that I'm aware of that Pac-Man has a voice. So Marty Ingalls, who provided the voice of Pac-Man, and actually went to his grave absolutely loving this show. He was very, very proud of his work as Pac-Man.
No, good for him.
And really was and is the only voice of Pac-Man. Unlike Mario, who's had any number of people voice Mario, including the original voice of Mario, which was
Captain Lou Albano. No, as far as I'm concerned, it was.
Nope. The original voice came from Saturday Supercade, and it was Peter Cullen did the original voice of Mario.
Yeah, but he wasn't Mario.
He originated Mario.
He wasn't the Mario in the Mario show.
No. I'm talking about animation voices. He was the original animation voice.
Still, I'm a huge Captain Lou fan, and
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Do what?
You leave Peter alone.
I'm not
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not going anywhere near the Peter.
Yes,
especially your Peter. It's weird and gross. Anyway, we will be coming back right after this.
I'm glad we're back here to kind of close out the show and just letting you know some of the things that are upcoming, folks. If you were at our Attorney of Dreams live show or you watched it, you know we've introduced a new member here to the 80's Allies family.
It's just our cast of characters is getting larger and larger and weirder and weirder.
You know, I was certain that the Masked Mullets family tree didn't fork.
No, I'm sure it didn't. In fact, their family tree is a lamppost.
Yeah, but I was not aware that we were going to get another member of the family on the show in the form of the Blue Flamer. But he is here and he's here to stay. And as I understand it, they were having a little trouble getting along, and a certain friend of yours stepped in to try and resolve the situation because, of course, family is very important, folks.
Family is very important. And
as we close out this episode of 80's Allies, we should point out how important family is in a little public service announcement. Don't you think, Larry?
Well, see, where I'm coming from is family is very, very important. And when you have somebody to try to disrupt family, whether they mean to or not, you find that it doesn't work out for them very, very well. But when you are in the process of trying to support family and teach family and love family, much like we do here at 80's Allies, everything works out for you. And with that being said, this is the close of the show. Before we go into your wonderful, wonderful last segment, I'm Larry. That's Jim. That's Jim. I'm Larry. Until next time, Allies.
I don't understand why you don't like pineapple on pizza. It's the best pizza, hands down.
I'm telling you right now, you're just a millennial, and that's all the problem is.
A millennial?
Millennial? Right now, it's pepperoni, sausage, ham, that kind of stuff. Pepperoni, that's it. You know, pineapple.
In a world where the bonds of family shake.
Someone needs public service announced.
Comes a man who once watched Family Ties. Yes, it's LarMan, the Public Safety Announcement Officer, and his assistant, Adrian. Special guests, the Mullets. boys and girls. It is I, LarMan, the Public Service Announcement Officer. And today I'm here with the Mullets.
Crazy? Hey, hi. What are you doing? Why are you bringing our pizza here?
Bills to pay.
Oh, well, I understand that. Well, thank you for the pizza.
Oh, never mind the pizza. What I need to worry about is you two. Because you two are family.
See? I've been telling you the whole time.
And you are way overzealous about being family.
I let them in multiply. Don't worry. I'll take care of them. And LarMan.
See, one thing you two need to understand is you're the older mullet. You must take charge and train this young blue flamer to be an outstanding citizen. An upright citizen that you can be proud of. Something that boys and girls will know and cherish for as long as they live. Together, as family. Because family united is better than a family divided.
I understand, LarMan. I agree.
I agree too.
Quite loud.
My bad. That was the 5-layer bean burrito I had earlier from Taco Bell.
Well,
that just runs right through here.
They're not one of our sponsors, but you got your sweets and you got your salty, and my assistant Adrian is here. Adrian, how are you today? Now you see, boys and girls, if Adrian would have had family, like the mullets do over here, this would not have happened. He would have not fallen flat on his face. But unlike my assistant Adrian, the mullets will not fall flat on their face. Because, boys and girls, we value family. Family.
You want a slice?
This has been LarMan.
Outside with sticks and dirt till the sun fell from the sky. But knowing half the battle made us more than meets the eye. It was dangerous to go alone unless you had a wooden sword. The only selfies that we took were made with Polaroid. Time will come and time will go. The years will pass us by. Makes me smile. You might think the decade you grew up in was the greatest. There was nothing better than growing up as a kid.